Haru is a class clown who finally wins over the shy girl in his class after years of watching her from afar like a stranger. However, once he gets to know her better, she turns out to be a total maniac who wants to skip the honeymoon phase and go straight into his pants. It all begins with Haru dreaming about his class representative, Riko, who wants to show him the color of her underwear, except she isn't wearing any. When he comes face to face with her factory, Haru is kicked out of the dream and causes a disturbance in class, which draws Riko's attention. She goes on about how Haru is a complete package. Not only does he get good grades, he's also quite flexible, and his cakes are the very epitome of jelly physics. He's been interested in her since his first year, and now that they're in the same class, the gods of plot decide to give him his 20 minutes of fame. After school, he meets Riko in the garden and gathers the courage to ask her out. She not only accepts, but also promises to become a walking Kama Sutra so he can Netflix and chill with her every day of the week. Later, he literally bumps into his childhood friend and upperclassman, Shizuku, in the hallway, who is a bit more affectionate than he would like. Soon after, his actual sister, Kanata, also shows up, and they decide to walk him home, assuming he's still a virgin loser. While arguing about what kind of cookies they're going to have, Haru decides he'll tell them about Riko when the time is right. The next day, Haru is daydreaming about what kind of person Riko really is when she suddenly appears and asks whether he prefers doing it in bed or on the kitchen counter. She's heard that women who can't satisfy their men often end up alone, so she wants to take care of that part as her top priority. After class, the teacher asks Riko to return some books to the library, and Haru decides to help, thinking it'll be too heavy for her. However, Riko starts to think he's a masochist and begins teasing him, hoping to cause a tornado in his pants. After returning the books, she keeps humiliating him until Haru explains that he isn't a masochist, though with that easy haircut, he doesn't convince anyone. Later, they meet at the park, where Riko is listening to a basic guide on how to give oral support. After lunch, Haru asks if he can take a picture of her, but Riko reveals she already has a whole gallery of photos, so yeah, she could start her own OnlyFans. Later on, Riko overhears a classmate complaining about her lack of a love life, so she advises her to stop wearing underwear to attract men. As she leaves, the girls gossip about how Riko is a bit strange when it comes to relationships, making them wonder whether Haru feels the same way about her. Still, when Haru gently asks her to walk home with him, she realizes he's different from the others. The next day, on the way to class, Haru notices something on Riko's ear, but she refuses to let him touch it, claiming it would mess up her irrigator. At that moment, a classmate bumps into Haru and pushes him closer to Riko. And despite Haru turning bright red, Riko wants him to hug her from behind. Later, Riko notices that Haru looks tired, and Shizuku shows up, claiming it's because he's been having an intense relationship with his right hand. Haru stops her from revealing his relationship with his right hand and introduces her to his new girlfriend. Riko Shizuku feels wronged, saying that once she left Haru's bed looking like a war zone only for him to remind her it was all because of the pillow fights they had as kids. Even though Haru says nothing ever happened between them, Shizuku keeps flirting with him, making it seem like Riko might get jealous. Later, Shizuku comes back and starts acting all affectionate, and Riko begins to think they have a very intimate friendship. However, Shizuku apologizes for making her feel conflicted and leaves, but not before telling Riko that Haru likes it from behind. After that, she becomes the third wheel, and the three of them go to a photo booth to take some pictures together. The next day, she returns to his classroom just to feel Kamito's chug jugs. But Haru quickly separates the two of them. He asks her not to interfere in his relationship, but Shizuku claims that he wouldn't even notice if he were focused on entering the Cave of Wonders of Reiko's. Reiko overhears this and asks Haruka Kimito to meet her in the gym after school. Kimito shows up thinking he's finally going to unlock his DLC. However, he's greeted by Riko, who looks like a clown on a mission to turn his back into a drum. While walking back, Reiko wonders how to make their relationship more intense and decides to give him a special practical lesson from behind. However, she accidentally trips over the guy and realizes she's still very inexperienced in these matters. Seeing her worried, Kimito says he notices how hard she's been trying and asks her not to let Shizuku influence their relationship, because only they can decide when they want to get more intimate. Reiko feels relieved and suggests they continue getting to know each other until they're both comfortable before doing anything else. A few days later, it starts raining, but Reiko suggests they run. Thinking Kimito might get excited seeing her all wet, Kimito offers to share an umbrella, but Reiko gets shy, leading them to run home together in the rain. On the way home, Kimito worries that Reiko might catch a cold and decides to text her, only to see Kanata peeking at him from the door. She still thinks her brother is apathetic virgin, so she came to hang out with him. However, she's shocked to learn that Kimito already has a girlfriend and tries her best to hide her jealousy. When Kimito gets a call from Reiko, she quickly leaves the room, promising to meet up later. She then overhears their conversation and feels Sage realizing he now cares about another girl the next day. She tries to sneak into Kimito's classroom, but gets caught. She then makes up excuses to justify her presence there. At that moment, Reiko arrives, catching Kanata's attention with her striking beauty. But Kanata is shocked to realize that Reiko is the girl her brother is dating. After Kimito introduces them, Kanata quickly starts a rivalry and begins talking about all the things she does with him to make Reiko jealous. However, she exaggerates so much that Reiko starts thinking they're from Alabama. And something as simple as a head pat terrifies her. As the situation escalates, Kimito takes quite a while to clear up the misunderstanding that Kanata caused. However, Reiko thinks Kanata really cute and says she would have gone for her if she were in his place. Asterisk, unbeknownst to them, Kanata is still spying and decides to intervene again, saying she wants him all to herself. However, she accidentally pushes Reiko too hard, making her fall. Reiko apologizes, and when Kimito asks why, she explains that she's really sorry for instinctively covering herself and not letting him see her magical garden. Kimito then takes care of Kanata with the intention of scolding her, but she quickly apologizes for her actions. Reiko then approaches her and asks for a fresh start, making Kanata feel more comfortable around her. Kimito suggests they all go out for lunch and immediately starts searching for nearby cafes on his phone. The next day, Reiko announces the class cleaning week. And although everyone is initially annoyed, she gives a solid speech and gets everyone pumped up. Later, she finds Kimito bagging trash and suggests emptying spray cans before throwing them away for safety reasons. After that, she overhears some boys talking about going from one girl to another, which makes her think Kimito might do the same to her. To stay relevant in his life, she goes home and watches a TV show that teaches how to make a bento box for your boyfriend. However, she ends up creating a new life form in her lunchbox and hesitates to give it to Kimito. At that moment, Shizuku shows up with her own homemade bento. So she starts begging Shizuku to give her cooking lessons. Later that day, Shizuku decides to invite both of them to a cooking class in Makisen. Elaborate sausage out of the ingredients to make Kimito uncomfortable. After making a few more inappropriate innuendos, she turns her attention to Kimito's whispers, something so naughty in his ear that he has to go to the bathroom. Upon returning, he overhears Shizuku making even more innuendos and prepares for round 2, only to be disappointed in the end. After preparing the stew, Shizuku says she's super excited because she hasn't had dinner with anyone in a while. The stew turns out really delicious, but Reiko realizes she forgot to make dessert. Shizuku tells her not to worry, because all she needs to do is put cream on a banana and smash it between her milk packs. And if that doesn't work, they can always use Haru Kimito's banana. After dinner, Kimito decides to walk Reiko home, but it starts raining again, even though she has her own umbrella. This time she keeps it in her bag so she can share with Kimito and get closer to him in the process. Even though she's not fully comfortable yet, she's slowly getting used to the idea of being Kimito's girlfriend. Then next day, Reiko tells her father Natsu that her dad is coming over for the day. Although it makes him a bit sad, he's okay with it since she's an adult now. Her mother, Fuyumi Hako, calmly asks Reiko to go buy groceries, and Natsu appreciates how calm she is in such situations. Later, Kimito shows up at her house and mistakes Fuyumi for Reiko because they look so much alike. She casually mentions that Reiko went shopping and offers to keep him entertained, bringing up Kimito's fantasies. While handing him tea, she asks how many times plans to knock up her daughter, making the guy nervous. Then she asks if Kimito has siblings. When he says he has an energetic little sister, She says thinking about not using protection tonight so Rocco can have a sibling to play with. She wonders what's the best position to make a girl. But Kimito can jazz the subject by asking about the photo album next to her. Meanwhile, Natsu is secretly watching from the window because he's too cowardly to confront the guy who's with his daughter. Seeing Fuyumi show Kimito Raiko childhood photos, Natsu reminisces about her first birthday and how he worried she'd grow up hating him. However, Fuyumi told him not to worry, saying she was prepared for any situation. A few years later, Reiko was getting a bit whiny, and Fuyumi handled it again. In the middle of his daydreams, he realizes that Fumi's inappropriate teaching methods might turn his daughter into the CEO off-town. At that moment, Reiko shows up and asks Natsu to come inside. Meanwhile, Kimito asks Fuyumi to eat with them once Reiko gets back, and she misinterprets it as some kind of Oedipus complex thing. Right after Reiko arrives with Thoyakodon, reinforcing the idea that he's into older women in his area. Amid decos, Kimito spots Natsu lurking and goes straight to introduce himself, Toscape, the weird mother-daughter duo. However, this makes Fuyumi think he plays for the other team, until Natsu clarifies by asking him to take care of his daughter. After lunch, Reiko decides to let him go, but Fuyumi believes she didn't do enough and apologizes. However, Natsu reminds her that she's been perfect through their marriage, which warms her heart. At night, Natsu comes home and finds out Triko is having her first date with Kimito tomorrow, and Fuyumi is giving advice on how to conquer a cat. She instructs her to swallow even if it tastes bitter. But Natsu thinks it's too early, and it's okay if she's... Fuyumi then tells her to do her own research, and Raiko watches a TV show where she learns to tilt her head to look cute. The next day, Kimito comes to pick her up, and his third leg shows Yupus a surprise guest when he sees how stunning she looks. On the bus, they notice a gross couple doing indecent things, and Reiko starts taking notes on them to give Kimito a happy ending. While watching the movies, Kimito gets nervous during the climax. But Raiko keeps taking notes on all the positions they could try. At night, Kimito drops her off at home and thanks her for the date, saying he had a lot of fun. However, Raiko panics, realizing Shua is so focused on taking notes that she ended up treating him like a third wheel. Seeing her distressed, Kimito thinks of a way to cheer her up in Sugists. They go see the cherry blossoms next Sunday. Raiko gets so excited to see him again that she starts listing all the snacks Kimito can eat with her. With herself at the top of the list, the next day, Kimito is heading to class when he sees Raiko falling to her knees, saying she couldn't sleep because she was planning their next day together. Kimito quickly takes her to the infirmary, where Kimisu-sensei puts her in bed. She reveals that Reiko caught a cold, so she leaves her in Kimito's care and calls Hako to pick her up. As her daughter Raiko promises she'll still go on the date, but Kimito tells her to focus on getting better first. Soon after, Hako arrives and takes her home. But Raiko is still worried about recovering in time for the date. On Sunday, Kimito gets a call from Raiko and rushes to her house to find her all better and ready for the date. They happily head out to see the cherry blossoms, but realize they've already fallen due to yesterday's heavy rain. Kimito apologizes for the disappointment, but Raiko is trembling with nerves, trying her hardest to salvage the date disaster. Kimito tells her not to worry, because they can come back here again next year, and Reiko gets super happy thinking they'll still be together by then. A few days later, a new transfer student named Rina arrives from and the girls start gossiping about how that school is for the elite. Kimito thinks she seems pretty normal, but everyone realizes she's a weirdo. She says she likes playing with hairy males. After class, everyone starts avoiding her until Reiko and Kimito approach to greet her. She explains she was referring to her fluffy dog when she said hairy males, and Kimito advises her to choose her words more carefully. Raiko suggests that instead, she could say she likes getting licked, which makes him realize he'll now have to tolerate not one, but two idiots in his class. She also reveals she always attended an all-girls school and is used to girl skeezing her milk packs for fun. She believes boys are the salmon, puts her assets up for sale to Kimito, but he explains he's already dating Reiko and it's not appropriate. She asks Reiko what she likes about Kimito, and Reiko starts listing all the good things about him, including his huge ding-dong. Rina is surprised to see a straight couple, since all she's ever seen at her previous school was girls hooking up with each other. Kimito asks if she has a girlfriend too. But Rina reveals she used to fool around with all her classmates at once. Since she has a lot to learn about boys, Raiko tells her to ask the teachers for advice on gaining influence. During break, Rina expresses her desire to get to know Kimito better and decides to talk about her taste in music. Following that, Kimito lets her play on his phone, and she's super happy because her mom doesn't let her play games. Kimito offers to help find a game that suits her, and she asks for one where she can lose her "You're crazy." Later, she asks Kimito to go to the bathroom with her. But Kimito says boys and girls have separate bathrooms here. At the vending machine, they run into Shizuku, and Raiko introduces her to Rina. Shizuku says she and Kimito are so close they do it practically every night. Rina gets jealous, saying she wants to join the fun too. Rina tells her she's in the middle of making male friends, and Shizuku thinks it'll be easy due to the huge size of her melons. When she asks to see Shizuku's little milk packs, Shizuku gets self-conscious because she's flat as a board and starts crying. Rina thinks she did something wrong and starts crying too, and Kimito is left to deal with their nonsense. After school, Rena thanks them for the help and is super happy about making friendsin her first day. Kimito thinks she's a sweet girl, despite being a bit weird, but then she gives both of them a goodbye kiss, which fries his brain. Then next day, Kimito sees Rina in distress and discovers that a friend from her previous school decided to end the friendship. Actually, she tried playing rock, paper, scissors without rock or paper and got rejected. At that moment, Raiko shows up to rescue her, promising to be her friend forever. Then some ionesologists, they go somewhere, and they end up going on a zoo trip. While there, Kimito discovers Raiko is really knowledgeable about animals because her mom is to come here to learn new positions for her dad. Meanwhile, Natsuma Sayomi finds out Raiko went out again and reminisces about beautiful memories of Raiko as a child. On the other hand, Hako is thinking about the nights. They broke beds before having her. It's been a while since they went out, so Natsu coincidentally suggests they go to the zoo. Meanwhile, Reiko and the group are strolling through the zoo. Petting different animal Santal, they come across a dog with a huge ding-dong. The girls start comparing dog size to Kimito Jr., leaving the guy extremely uncomfortable. Talkin's the subject. Kimito suggests they go see the giant turtle, but the girls are more interested in the turtle in his pants. Later, Natsu and Hako arrive, AF-zoo, and check out different animals, until they come across a crying baby separated from its mother. After searching for the mom, Natsu sits down and explains to her that his feet hurt from walking too much. He remembers a similar incident in the past when Hako helped him walk, realizing she still is caring as she was years ago. Meanwhile, it's time to head home. So, Shizuku decides to walk with Renaso Kimito and Reiko can have some alone time. Shizuku complains to Kimito about how her dad gave her a useless alarm clock called Briganga. She suddenly gets an idea and goes to the bathroom, and Rako notices she's using the alarm as a toy. Later, Rina meets up with Kimito and Raiko, excited to tell them her mom bought her a new phone. After playing around with her first call, she asks Kimito to teach her how to take a selfie. They take a photo together, and he even shows her how to apply filters. After choosing a bunny filter, she runs around the school telling everyone she did a facial with Kimito, and the guy chases after her to explain what that really means. Later, Shizuku complains about her messy hair from the heat, and Rina shows up complaining about itching in her private area. After that, she comes out of the bathroom singing about how much better she feels after mowing Thelon, hearing her voice sounding like Britney Spears. Raiko asks her to teach her how to sing, so she takes Raiko to the bathroom to show her secret. Later, Reiko learns it's important to give boyfriends a lot, but Kimito insists he prefers spending time with her. She then talks about how boyfriends lift their girlfriends' chins, making him think she wants to try it too. After that, she explains how true love only forms when a girl can tell what a boy wants without him having to say it. So she advises Kimitana to talk to her so she can acquire that power. Later in class, Kimito realizes he forgot his book at home, and Reiko shows up offering to share hers. During the lesson, he runs out of lead, and Reiko once again offers hers without him asking. When Kimito can't find his dictionary, Reiko offers to share hers. And when his eraser falls off the desk, she bumps her head into his, trying to pick it up. During break, Reiko runs to buy him chocolate bread, But the boys start talking nonsense, thinking he's making a pretty girl do errands for him. After PE class, she rushes to give him an energy drink, but Kimito refuses, making her think she did something wrong. Shep promises to try even harder from now on, and others start thinking he's using Greco for his own benefit. Later, Rena shows up wanting to feel Kimito's feelings so they can be best friends, and Shizuku wants to feel his feelings to give him a happy ending. Everyone tries to concentrate at the same time to give Kimito what he wants, but the only thing they manage to give him is debilitating depression. Kimito asks Raiko to walk home with him, but she reveals she has totened a class representatives meeting. In the meeting, Reiko suggests bringing manga to the library, explaining that science books alone been enough to teach people about new positions. However, the meeting leader, Igarashi, rejects her proposal, which surprises her. Turns out, Igarashi was just starting to like it. But everyone at the meeting gangs up behind Raiko and starts teasing her. Reiko has the hiccups, and none of the methods on the internet work for her. Later, Shizuku sneaks into the science room and decides to scare Herto make the hiccups go away. Even though it fails miserably, she manages to help Reiko, but then starts hiccuping herself. Meanwhile, Kanata goes out to buy snacks with her friend Sakiko, but ends up putting a box of Willy chocolate-flavored condoms in her cart. Thinking it's some kind of snack she's never tried, she decides to put it back on one of the snack shelves. While Sakiko looks for chocolate snacks, she sees the box and hesitates to ask the clerk because she's not sure what it is. She ends up thinking it's premium-flavored chocolate and decides to buy it. She goes to the counter and displays the box carelessly. And when the guy suggests wrapping it in a paper bag, she leaves, saying she'll open it at school and share with her. Later, Kimito meets Raiko before school and notices she looks like a full meal in her summer uniform. Walking to school together, they run into a popular guy, Sia, who is basically a walking temptation for girls. Kimito realizes he's not even half as popular as Sia and worries that Reiko might fall for him too. At that moment, he sees Seiya trying to flirt with Reiko and starts panicking, thinking they're going to. When Shizuku shows up, Kimito asks her if this kind of behavior is normal between friends. Rina also joins them, and Kimito reveals he's worried about Reiko developing feelings for someone else. Seeing Seiya showing off his body, the guy can't stand still and decides to confront them. Approaching the two, he asks if they've become close friends. But Seiya reveals he was just asking Reiko for advice on how to get photos of guys. Turns out, Seiya plays for the other team, but he hasn't been able to make male friends since girls are always around him. He was asking Raiko for advice on how to make friends with Kimito, because he seems like a nice guy. Kimito thought Seiya was trying to steal Reiko from him, but now he feels relieved and offers to be his friend. He's so embarrassed, he wants to dig a hole and bury himself, and Seiya thinks it's an invitation for something else. Later, they find huge bamboo decorations at school, and Kimito explains their Fortonabata, the day when two lovers meet. Reiko, on the other hand, thinks going a whole year without love must be really frustrating. At that moment, Shizuka shows up wanting to hang Tanzuku on the wish trees. One of them is to wish for Kimito's ding-dong to stay healthy forever, and the other is to ask for a beak-up side. Rina then brings a pile of Tanzuku, one wishing for a deeper connection with her friends, deep enough to give them a happy ending. Latterthy noticed Seiya counting stars, and Kimito shares his enthusiasm about outer space, making him feel like he's found the right person. Seiya wishes for Hyman Kimito to connect more deeply, while wishing his man won't be stolen by some skinny guy. Raiko returns with another wish, and Kimito decides to give her some privacy. She gets sad thinking he has no interest in what she wants. The next day, the class practices for the softball event, but Kimito's eyes are glued to Reiko's soul. Turns out, it was her plan all along to captivate him. So she went as far as printing his name on her inflatable chest. While practicing, Kimito laments that his throw curves to the right, but Rakoseish can still rock her world with a curved ding-dong. Since her innuendos aren't helping, Seiya shows up to the rescue and advises him to hold the ball lightly. Reiko sees them practicing how to handle a baseball bat and assumes they're playing a completely different kind of batan ball game. Kimito sees Raiko, but decides not to tell her what he learned, so he can surprise her tomorrow, the next day. The event officially starts, and Raiko runs around looking for Kimito Bekas. She thinks he's losing his virginity to Seiya. Kimito is warming up for the game when Shizuku climbs on him for a completely different of warm-up. He assumes she must be a pain in the ass for her classmates. But surprisingly, she's very gentle with a nervous classmate. To his shock, at that moment, Raiko bursts in and feels relieved to see him intact. Later, Thedam gathers to watch Kimito hit a home run, and after he misses the first few swings, Saya shows up to cheer him on. Kimito takes a deep breath, swings Thibit, and the ball hits Saya square in the crotch. Kimito runs over to check state of Saya's softballs and apologizes for letting Raiko think this guy could switch sides. Later, Kimito tells Raiko he should have taken more lessons with Saya, and Raiko apologizes for spying on his private matters. However, Kimito says he was just taking softball lessons because he wanted to hit a home run and impress her. He thinks in the end he looked like a loser. But Raiko assures him she's impressed with how he handles the bat while walking in the park. The lovebirds find a stray dog, and Kimito starts explaining how he used to have a dog in the past. The dog looks hungry. Soriko feeds it and then throws a ball for it. But the dog heads straight for Reiko's lower region and shows what its tongue can do. Kimito wonders what kind-of sick owner this dog has, only to discover it's Rina's dog, Butter. The next day, Kimito sees an announcement for a camping trip, and Raiko reveals Shehaz to attend a meeting to set some basic rules. In the meeting, Igarashi reveals that Class 5 will have a test of courage at night and advises the others to make sure no student gets separated from the group. Returning to her classroom, Igarashi tries to set some rules for the group, but no one in that class listens to her. Sad, she decides to leave the room and runs into Theothar for representatives who want her to teach them more about the trip, which makes her very happy. Soon after, the class arrives at the camping site, and Kimito decides to walk with Rina and Raiko. Upon arriving at the camp, Raiko helps in the kitchen. Somian steals the show just by sprinkling the spices. After the food is ready, forest animals come running to grab their share, and Seija starts playing with them, but cat school. Shizuku jumps on a guy thinking he's Kimito, but runs away when she realizes it's someone else. Meanwhile, Kanata is alone at home, anxiously waiting for her brother's return. At that moment, she gets a call from Kimatonde, pretends to be too busy to give him attention. On the other hand, Natsu and Hako feel empty because they're used to having Raiko at home all the time. Natsu realizes that soon she'll grow up and marry Saman. But Hako is there to comfort him, promising she'll always be by his side forever.